Welcome. I'm N.S. Lavanya, Assistant Professor, Department of English, KCS Kasinadar College of Arts and Science. In this video, you are going to learn the role of education and vernacular in the history of translation. Since it is a vast syllabus, you have to learn very carefully. The educative role of translation of the scriptures was well established long before the 15th and 16th centuries. The early vernacular scripts inserted in Latin contained the valuable information regarding the development of various European languages. King Alfred declared that the purpose of his translation was to recover English people from Danish invasions. He said these invasions had wasted the old monastic centers of learning and demoralized and divided the kingdom. In his preface to his translation of the Cura Pastoralis, Alfred urges a revival of learning through greater accessibility of translation in vernacular, and at the same time he asserts the claims of English as a literary language in its own right. Alfred pointed out at the Romans' concept of translated text and states that we have to translate some of the books that all men understand. Alfred followed the teachings of his bishop and priest and rendered the text, meaning sometimes word by word and sometimes sense by sense. The function of the finished product was the determining factor in the translation process rather than any established procedure. Translation is seen as having a moral and didactic purpose with a clear political role to play. It is far removed from its instrumental role in the study of rhetoric that existed at the same time. The concept of translation is meant for writing exercise and not for improving oratorical style. This was an important component in the medieval educational system based on the study of the 7 liberal arts. This system was passed down from Roman theoreticians as Quintilian, whose text was seminal. It discusses 2 areas of study, trivium, grammar, rhetoric and dialectic, and quadrivium. It contains arithmetic, music and astronomy, as though trivium is basis. Quintilian stresses the importance of paraphrasing a given text as a means of assisting the students. It helps the students to understand, analyze, and experiment the text with forms of embellishment. He prescribes paraphrasing as a set of exercises that move through 2 distinct stages: the initial straightforward closeness, and the writer adds more of his style. He also advocates translation along with paraphrasing, though these activities are not clearly distinguished. Both are employed for the same purpose. He also recommends students to translate from Greek into Latin in order to extend and develop their imaginative powers. Hence, Latin remained the language of the educational system throughout Europe for centuries. Quintilian advocates the translation as a stylistic exercise, as it involves the translation of Greek into Latin. The rise of vernacular literature from 10th century onwards led to another shift in the role of translation. Alfred extolled the importance of translation as a path towards understanding, and for him, translation means creation of a vernacular. Literature began to emerge across Europe as works produced in other cultural contexts were translated, adapted on a vast scale. Translation acquired an additional dimension when writers used their abilities to increase the status of their own vernacular. Thus, the Roman concept of translation developed into a new form of enrichment. Gianfranco, in his article on vulgarization and translation, suggests that medieval translation may be described as either vertical or as horizontal. In vertical, he means the vernacular from SL has a special value. In horizontal, he intends that both SL and TL have similar value. Example, Norman French into English. Roger Bacon and Dante talk about translation in relation to the moral and aesthetic criteria of works of art and scholarship. Bacon discusses the problem of loss in translation, whereas Dante focuses more on the importance of accessibility through translation. Both great translators agree that translation involves much more than an exercise in comparative linguistics. The distinction between horizontal and vertical translation shows how it could be linked to two coexistent but different literary systems. There is a wide range of texts that include acknowledged translations, free adaptations, conscious borrowings, reworkings, and close correspondence. Many theoreticians raise the question of accuracy in translation. The notion of accuracy depends not on the translator's ability to understand the original and does not rest on his subordination to the SL text. Hence, translation is viewed as a skill inextricably bound up with modes of reading and interpreting the original text and educating all. Thanks for watching this video. We meet in the next video.